Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another weekly Wednesday live stream. I'm Peter, and today we're going to be talking about water cooling. Now, I know water cooling for some people is very scary. We maybe will make it even more scary. Who knows? Maybe stuff will break. We've got a very nice case here. Maybe you've seen it before in a previous stream where we covered the 10K super build or super station, I think it was called. And we also have a really nice giveaway today, so if you want to go to msi.com/2/insider, yep, there it is, below, there you can see, you can go there. We have $20 Steam codes we're going to give away to a couple of lucky people today. It's going to be randomized, obviously, as you know, as it always goes. So go over to the link. We should be able to put it in the chat as well later on. So for you guys who don't see the button on the landing page, you can go there. And yeah, don't miss out on a nice Steam code, guys. So, all right, let's get this stream started. As you can kind of already see below here, there's two names, and I'm only one of them. So the other person is Tim. Tim, welcome to the stream.
Hey man,
how are you?
Nice to meet you. I'm good.
All right, so we've invited Tim here because he is an expert or aficionado, whatever.
I've done it before.
Exactly, and he likes it, and that's, you know, not everybody does. But no, he's really into case modding, so he is the owner of a, well, customizing company, I would say. So
yeah,
basically
exactly.
everything.
Like a website, it's Dutch line customizing.
Yeah. So how much years experience do you already have in this type of field of customizing PCs and making custom builds?
I think I'm now doing this for like 5 years, something like that. Really started like with the first thing, trying, and then, you know, once you start case modding, it's like a virus, and it takes over, and then you're doing it non-stop.
Yeah, nice. And so now you're doing it professionally as well.
Well, semi-professionally. I do stuff for brands,
Right.
like with MSI, etc. But I still have a full-time job to pay for the bills.
Yeah, well, of course. So it kind of remains a hobby that's gotten out of hand.
Exactly.
That's pretty much what's happening.
Exactly.
Okay, good. I mean, we all know how that goes. All right, so Tim, I've got here a few examples. So maybe you guys are wondering, okay, so nice, that's Tim. He has a company or he does some case modding. He's got experience, but how, you know, what kind of things does he make? Well, we've prepared some examples for you guys. Here you see some builds. These are a little bit older. Maybe you can tell a little bit about these builds.
Yes, this is actually a very large case from Thermaltake, Tower 900, and we actually made it to fit 2 full gaming systems water cooled in it, which is not designed to do, but you know, that's case modding. You do stuff that to cases that the initial designer did not have in mind.
Yeah.
But it's actually owned by a friend with me now, and he games with his girlfriend, and yeah, they both game at the same time in the same chassis.
All right. So really cool build as well. As you can see, water cooled as well. So that's one of the main things why we take this one as an example. Here's another example, also with an MSI build. What can you tell about this?
Yes, this is the first system that I created to go to DreamHack in Sweden.
All right, cool.
So it was the first time that I went there, and actually every year we go there with a esport organization,
Right.
and we give away a water-cooled case mod full system to one of the
Nice.
people there, and this was the first one.
Nice. Okay. Lucky people.
Yeah, they are.
It's another reason to go to an event like DreamHack, guys. You know, you could be the lucky winner of a full water cooled build.
Taking it home.
Exactly. And so, well, it's funny you should mention DreamHack because, you know, last year, 2018, Winter DreamHack, which is the biggest one, there's a case mod competition, obviously, and you were the big winner, right?
Yes, in the open class I was at first place. It was
Wow.
it was amazing. It was you know, it's great to be there amongst other people that do the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, to actually then be in that event, the top of them, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is kind of, you know, to also tell, you know, show you guys that this is not just a random case modder guy or something. He's really good. You know, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's got experience. And he's got great taste, you know, according to the judges, obviously. And you know, well, you can judge for yourself.
Because he says that's because I use MSI.
Yeah, obviously. But anyway, so the build you had this year looked kind of like this. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, we had some. Every year we try for the giveaway system. We try to do a theme to it,
Right.
which has to do with gaming. And this year we went because Fortnite is enormous right now.
Yeah.
And I kind of went with a kind of game theme, like a gun skin, and I said, you know, that looks really like the gun has water cooling, and I really try to to make the chassis, etc., all have the same kind of designs on it, the game colors, etc., etc.
Right.
And so yeah, it's quite an awesome system with a dual loop, so a separate loop for the CPU and a separate one for the GPU, and all kinds of emblems and color coordination just to make it look like the gun in the game.
It looks crazy.
It kind of is crazy.
In a good way. In a good way. It looks like, holy crap, that's complicated.
Yeah, it was supposed to look like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well,
it's a showpiece, you know. And
yeah. And so these themes, are you able to choose them yourself, or does the competition, do they say, okay, this is the theme of this year?
No, the competition is completely open. You can do whatever you want. Actually, the organization that I work with for DreamHack, then I just sit there. They're just like good friends right now after a couple of years, and we just sit and we chat. What would be nice to do this year? And at some point, like, oh, let's go Fortnite this year, and then we go at it, and we have some fun building.
Cool. Well, that sounds nice. Maybe I should try my hand on that. It'd be like my first PC.
But I'll be your backup.
That would be cheating, I think. But I think this was how it looked like when you build this at home, and then you put it in a box. You fly over and you have a company ship the build to the event, right?
Yeah, we take the utmost care for it, so we ship it on a truck, on a pallet, in an enormous wooden crate.
Yeah.
And we
lots of padding,
completely filled it with padding and styrofoam and stuff like that. Yeah. And up until now, or up until December, I have to say,
right,
I had no issues.
Yeah, but then this happened.
Disaster struck.
So the guys, left side is before, the other side is after, when it arrived at the event. And so this was actually the day before the competition, I believe, or at least before you had to.
I think a couple of days before like a week before the event started, I was still at home. Yeah. And the guys that received it, he sent me a picture like, we have a problem. Yeah.
Or did he say, "What nice case mod, dude? I haven't seen anything like this before."
The name was Disaster.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, you guys can clearly see, that's not how it's supposed to look, and so.
No, we're laughing now, but at that moment when I received the picture, I wasn't laughing.
No,
at all.
I can imagine. And so you went from this and you restored it, because the picture on the left is actually at the event. So that's after you.
After I restored it, yes. The people that received it actually, they have no real building experience, and they were like, when you come here, you have a look at it and see if it's still salvageable.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So I arrived, and I think at the morning of the first day of DreamHack. Yeah. And luckily, I have made some very nice friends over the years at DreamHack, and some Swedish people that live locally as well. So we already ranked some, if you have some spare parts, etc. Yeah. And that same afternoon, we went to a place with some, some tables, and we let's clean it, and let's see what we have. Yeah. Luckily, there was no leakage going on. It was mostly the two big glass panels that went over it. Okay. Somehow the crate had dropped, because the system was actually on its side. Right. Still unbelievable how that worked. Yeah. But I had a friend that had some. He took them off his private system and brought them to the event, so I could have the system there. Nice. So it actually really awesome.
It looked worse in the end than it was, because the water loop itself was still intact. There was
luckily there was some stuff a bit bent, but overall it was just glass everywhere, and that makes it look terrible. Yeah.
So I mean, that picture says it all.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so yeah, mad respect for being able to do that. Also, obviously, having friends does help, so Definitely. That's great. But I mean, just to show you guys this kind of thing, especially builds that he makes with glass and stuff like that, but even with the hard tubing there, it is kind of sensitive. It can break. So if you're transporting it a lot, that is something to keep in mind. So yeah, and it happens to the best of them, like literally the best of them.
Even with the utmost precaution, it can still happen, sadly. Yeah. So if again I'll have some 6-7 systems without breaking, again before another one, I'll sign for that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, so he was able to salvage this. Luckily, it wasn't as bad as it looked at first. But yeah, so that's Tim. If you have any questions for Tim, let us know in the chat. I'll be on this side. If I'm looking on this side, it's because I'm looking at your chat messages. If you have any questions for Tim, let us know. He can answer them maybe.
Definitely.
Later on, we will also have our partner for water cooling, EK Waterblocks. We will have Attila and Joe on through Skype connection. So we will be talking to them as well, and you can also ask them some questions if you want if you want to know more about EK Waterblocks in particular. However, before we do that, I just want to go a little bit more into the water cooling and which types of water cooling there is, because it is very broad. Maybe it used to be a little bit simpler, but there are so many shapes and forms which you can do water cooling. Maybe it's just for some people will already know this, but other people might not. So let's give a little bit of an introduction. Also starting with the products that we offer, obviously. You guys know some of the products that we have, of course, with good air coolers like this, the GameX Trio. This was on. This is just a cooler, obviously. I've shown you guys in a different stream. But if you want even better cooling, and that's kind of why you would choose water cooling besides the aesthetics. It looks really nice if you do it right. But also the other big advantage is you should be able, if you do it correctly, to get much lower temperatures as well.
Yes, more efficient cooling.
Exactly, and that would give you, for example, also a bit more headroom for overclocking, and there's other examples you can do. And so a water block, for example, looks like this. But let's go to the slides, because we have two different, well, at least for graphics card, two different products we offer. This, as you can see, is we call the Seahawk, is the closed loop, which was one of the first ready-to-go water cooling cards we offered, and it's relatively simple in that you basically just have to install the card like you would always do, the graphics card, and you basically have to mount the radiator, or the thing you see to the right of it. You have to mount that in your case, and then make sure you no, actually I don't even think you have to connect the fan separately. I think it's connected to the graphics card. So that's it, and there's like no maintenance whatsoever, and that's basic water cooling, which is quite good, I have to say. It should be a little bit better than air cooling already, but if you want to have a little bit more of an extreme solution and even better results, potentially, depending on your setup, there are cards like this, which we call custom loop. Seahawk EK. So you can see, Seahawk is our series for water-cooled cards, and there is basic Seahawk, which is closed loop, and Seahawk EK, which is called EK obviously because we partner up with EK Waterblocks from, I think they are from Slovakia, right?
Slovenia.
Slovenia, sorry, my bad. Slovenia in Europe, and they are known as one of the best, if not the best, provider of water blocks and water cooling components and solutions around the world, pretty much, I would say.
And one of the very early pioneers in the in the subject. When back in the days you had like much less brands going on than right now, but EK was there at the first. Yeah.
So they've got a lot of history there as well, and a lot of experience, which you can tell at least. Well, the people who work with the products mostly can tell. Also, they know what's needed and what works. So this is one of the water blocks that is on the Seahawk EK. And also, if you look at, that's for graphics cards, obviously. But if you look at, there's more than the graphics card, there's also the CPU. Those are, I believe, the two biggest components in terms of heat production as well in the PC, especially if you have high-end components. So for the CPU, there's also multiple solutions. On the left, you see a CPU block, which is a basic block that covers just the CPU die. And that's perfectly fine already, but if you have like a really big board with a big VRM, say, I don't know, Godlike or X299 Intel, one of those crazy, or Threadripper or something like that, you might also want to cool the VRMs, and that's where you go into a CPU monoblock, what it's called. So that's actually a bigger block physically. We can also show you in the system later on. Because the system to our right on the table right now has a monoblock, and that one covers both the CPU but also the VRMs around it. So
it's quite a clever thing from the last couple of years. If you would scroll back a couple of 5 years, 6, 7 years, then you would have the standard CPU block. You could buy separate blocks made for the VRMs.
Right.
And at some point said, why not make one?
So
and it's perfect. It looks great. It works great.
Yeah.
What do you want? It's great.
It just works.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's very clever, and I mean the VRMs, these things, the motherboards, everything's getting more powerful and more power hungry, and so at some point it also becomes just generally a good idea to make sure that the cooling is better than standard, especially if you're doing a lot of crazy overclocking, for example. And here's, for example, how it would look in one of our systems. So as you can see, it is much bigger than just the CPU. Just to give you an idea, actually, if we can switch to the close-up cam, maybe you can shift the system a little bit closer to me. It is quite heavy, obviously, because there's also a lot of liquid in there.
Yeah, we don't want no damage.
No, but as you can see here, so here you can see this is the monoblock, basically. I'll try to show it to you as good as I can. But as you can see, it covers a large part of the motherboard, just enough space to fit all the RAM.
Yes, and another bonus of it, because it's only one block instead of 2 or 3, it means less tubing, less fittings, etc.
Simplified.
Exactly.
Cool. Is it also more efficient?
I don't think it would cool better than a
separate blocks.
The separate idea. It's more like it's one solution for multiple problems, and they can next to the fact that it does great cooling, it can also create quite good looking blocks like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, aesthetics, I think we can all agree this looks great, you know. This kind of build is something that you usually just you scroll Instagram for or something, you know, you drool over. So yeah, this is the Superstation, by the way, guys. We showed a couple of streams back. 10K Superstation, if you want to look it up on YouTube. All the specs are there. I believe this is with see, there's two 1080 Ti cards embedded EK Seahawks. So yeah, really high-end system.
And hardline tubing.
And hardline tubing, yeah. Oh, so maybe you can show the differences, because you just mentioned hard tubing and soft tubing. I believe we have two examples here, right?
Yeah, I'll put this to the side again,
sure.
so I can show you more a bit.
Okay.
So basically, for custom loops, I'll put this stuff here. Right now, in the old days when people started working it was only about soft tubing. This is one example. It's I think called neoprene from EK. Most of them are translucent,
right?
Like pipes.
Yeah, see-through.
But they've also made various ones in different colors. Yeah. And this is the one that I used on the system that we'll show later. It's a really nice matte black, and it's just with no problems with coolants, etc. going on.
I noticed it's quite thick, by the way.
Yes, there are many different kinds of.
Show in the close-up cam there, so you guys can see, right? This is quite thick.
Yes.
The edges of the tubing.
This tubing is 10 millimeters inside diameter, so the opening, and the outside is 16 millimeters. I think there are maybe from various brands there may be like 10 or 12 even different kind of measurements. They have bigger ones that go up to 19 millimeters on the outside. They have much smaller ones, and just pick the ones that match the ones with your fittings and whatever you like. So in the past, you would go with this. You would have a barb, or you would have a compression fitting that goes with it. And at some point, there was a brand that said, you know, when you do an SLI system, maybe not put a hose in it, but because it's so close to each other, let's put a piece of pipe in it.
And it's a fixed width, right? It's usually a fixed amount of space between them.
Exactly. You could buy packages with 3 sizes of them, so they would always fit in between the cards. Yeah. At some point, people were thinking from the modding community, maybe we can use that to use everything on the system. So they were starting to use those fittings that were actually designed only to make like an SLI thing
between
to it.
cards.
Exactly. And it became very, very, very big. The reason for this is that a soft tubing, like says, it is soft, so it will always bend front to back. You can make really nice system with that, but still, when you use hardline tubing, I have one here that's a piece of PETG. This one is 12 millimeters outer diameter and 10 millimeters inside diameter.
So it's way thinner.
Exactly. You can use either fittings, or you can bend it using heat to create the perfect bend, but also the perfect straight. Because you can't really make a perfect straight with a soft tubing. And that's basically what got people really interested in saying, okay, how can we do it? And within no time, the market, the brands like EK jumped on and said, you know, we have to make products for this, so everyone can do it.
Yeah.
And now loads of brands make stuff for it, so you can.
It's a bit more common, yeah.
Both the soft tubing or the hardline tubing.
Yeah, yeah. And I see a lot of guys in the chat saying, hey, I've always been interested in water cooling myself. I use all-in-one or closed loop coolers right now, but I want to go into custom. So this is actually the stream for you guys. Because we invited Tim and the guys from EK here to go over the basics, show you some nice builds, of course, but also give you some hands-on advice and some tips and tricks of how to do this, and let us know which parts you are afraid of specifically, so Tim can explain to you. Yeah, water and water and electricity. That combination scares me. But maybe Tim can give you some advice, or the guys from EK can help you to overcome that fear and basically tell you, well, there's no need to worry as long as you do this, or as long as you make sure that they can give you tips and hints, and then you can still do it. So if fear is what's stopping you, this is the perfect opportunity for you to ask your questions and see if you can, if we can get rid of that fear for you.
Definitely, hit us up.
Exactly, yeah. So let's see if we have any other questions. See, people are asking about pricing for some products, if it's a good price. Well, I wish to use hard tubing. Beameron says, I wish to use hard tubing, but I'm worried I'd cause damage and waste money. I think this is a very general question, and like lots of people, this will be their first thing, like, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing, so how big are the chances to cause damage?
Basically, if you, of course, there's a bigger chance compared to air cooling, because there's no liquid involved at all in air cooling, but there are some basic stuff that if you keep yourself to, that there shouldn't really be an enormous risk, especially you can find all kinds of communities that people will help you. You have guides online, etc. And I personally, I've had leaks when leak testing a system,
right?
But I've never had a system that broke down because a leak sprung when it was in working condition.
Yeah. So once you've set it up and it's all fixed, then it should remain fixed. There's nothing really short of bumping into it or
no, because
transporting it.
There's already so many years now of evolution into the products. Like for example with EK products, that they are so good that you really have to make a mistake to get a leak. It's not so much that a part can just suddenly fail, like a tube rupture or whatever, unless there is a very, very obvious reason for it, and that's usually almost always an outside reason, not so much the product itself failing.
And you said, I noticed you said something about spill testing or leak testing. Yeah. So what is that, and how do you do it?
Usually when you create a custom loop with these parts in your system, like you said, liquids sometimes are conductive.
Yes.
Unless they're made specifically not to be conductive. So what most people that do more builds during the time do is they create the loop and then they fill it, but they don't turn on the system to run the pump at first. They use a separate power supply only to run the pump.
Okay.
And
so the components don't get powered.
Exactly. So when you have a leak, for whatever reason, maybe you didn't turn a fitting good enough or whatever it is, or at a bad angle, then you might get a leak onto your hardware, but they won't be destroyed because of shortcut. So then you can still just take them off, clean them, put them back in, and try again.
And I think this is the biggest fear, at least would be for me, that, okay, what if I make a mistake and I power the system on, and then suddenly, I think I've seen movies about that, that water starts squirting and they're like, oh crap, but that's a really good tip. So what Tim says indeed is just make sure that you only find a way to power. How do you do that? Is it like a separate power supply, or what's the easiest way to do that?
You can. There are brands that you can basically buy like a laptop adapter that only has the molex for the pump.
Okay. Yeah.
But when you're more into building systems, you have a separate power supply just somewhere laying around. You can basically make that work and just have it separately from the system and run the pump on that.
To another motherboard, for example, you put it on a pump header or something like that.
You already have like on a 24 pin, the main pin. There's one wire, the green, and it has to be connected to a earth wire, a black one, and that means the power supply turns on. Usually the motherboard gives that signal when you turn it on. But you can short that, and then if you turn it on and back with the knob, it'll just give power to only that cable that you put on it.
That's connected. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I mean, maybe a little hot wiring required.
You can basically buy those. You
Yeah.
can buy them in shops where you can buy liquid cooling stuff. You can buy like a female 24 pin that already has the connection between it. So
Right.
you put in and away you go.
It's for that specific purpose, pretty
Exactly.
much. Okay.
Yep.
Guys, so that's a good tip. So yeah, and then test everything before you power the system. Then if there's a leak, no problem. Of course, you'll need to dry it off before you try anything else, but it won't be broken.
It's not fun, but your hardware won't be damaged.
Exactly. So it's well worth doing. So yeah, just pre-testing pretty much. So good tip. Thanks.
Yep.
Let's see if we got any other good questions. Will you cause damage when using non-conductive fluid instead of water? Well, I think you just answered that, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
basically, theoretically, it would be no damage with non-conductive fluid.
But it's never a good idea to just leave it when it's leaking, you know?
No, exactly. It still comes in between stuff, etc.
Yeah. So.
And at the same time, when you do leak testing, some use paper towels. I use other kinds of fabric.
A bathtub.
Could be. And put them in between components. So if you see a drip, it'll drip onto the piece of cloth and not so much directly on the components.
Yeah. So always a good idea if you're expecting something, especially the weak points obviously would be the fittings.
Yeah. Exactly.
So where those are connected, probably best to just put some towels or something to catch any potential spill, and then you'll be fine.
Yep.
All right. So good questions, guys. Suggested cases. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different cases you can do. Now, Beameron is happy. 100% the advice I needed. Well, glad we were able to answer that question
problem,
for
man.
you. Non-conductive fluid will not cause damage, but it will become more conductive over time, and then it may cause damage. Well, I mean, could be. Is that the one and only real Tim Warning? Yes, it is, Nachai. It is. All right, so yeah, can a pre-made closed loop leak? Okay, that's also a good one.
Well,
it can, probably, but in your experience, have you ever experienced it?
I have experienced it once with a friend that had a system that, for whatever reason, it came loose. It was a very long time ago. I think nowadays they make them even better.
Yeah.
So like everything in the world, it can break, but the percentage of those like breaking and leaking, they're very low.
Let's just say if it breaks and leaks, it's probably because you're moving it a lot or bending or
very
turning on
weird
the fittings.
angles.
But once it's like in your system and it's working and you don't do anything to it, then it should be fine, right? It should just work and no leaks.
And even if you are afraid of that, there are some brands, maybe even nowadays all of them, that actually give warranty on that. So if because of their product your hardware gets damaged, and you can show it with pictures or whatever,
you can prove it, obviously.
They will actually reimburse you the hardware that was damaged by it.
As long as it's used as intended, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah. If you drag it behind your car, you're probably not getting it.
Yeah. Or if you're just cutting into the wires or the tubing, then obviously it's gonna leak and they're not gonna reimburse you for it. But you get the general idea. So it's relatively safe, and it also says something that they're willing to go to this length to ensure or to provide warranty, not just on their own product, but also on potentially your hardware that gets damaged. That says something about the level of confidence they have in their products as well.
Exactly.
So we've come a long way, I'd say, in that department.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's get the guys from EK involved. Let's do that. So we obviously, as I've mentioned before, we have our Seahawk EK products, and we also have a giveaway still. So go to msi.com/2/insider. Hit the button that says giveaway, and I believe, our YouTube and our Twitch channels, of course, and you will have double the chance to win a nice Steam code, so don't miss out on that. So let's see if the guys from EK are there. So let me put in my headphones here. Attila, Joe.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hey guys.
Awesome.
I can hear you.
Hello.
So welcome to the stream, and thanks for joining, obviously.
Welcome for inviting us.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome. So
thank you.
And thank you for providing some of the stuff, obviously, also for the build, and thank you for the great cooperation already in a couple of years, because now we've been working together for, I think, since the 900 series, right? We've been
Third gen probably.
third gen at the moment, yeah.
Yes, third gen.
So, can you first, maybe for the people who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourselves, who you are, what you do within EK?
Okay, so I am in charge of technical marketing. So I do everything. I mean, I'm in charge of everything that happens on social media. I am helping with the blogs. So we have educative materials that would lead people into liquid cooling. So if someone have questions about hard tubing, soft tubing, D5 pumps, DDC pumps, so you can find all of this info on the EK page. I do press releases and many more things involving EK. And Joe here is from R&D. Joe unfortunately doesn't have a webcam, but he is here with his soul and his mind. So Joe.
It's okay, I look great in the photo.
Good.
You're very good at standing still, Joe.
Yes. You
so,
almost couldn't tell that this is actually a live feed and not a picture.
I am about that fast, so it's no problem.
No, just kidding. So, all right, thank you for joining us. So, okay, Joe, what can you tell us about your job and your experience?
I have a very similar background to Tim. For the last 3 or 4 years, I've been building systems for various brands and companies. Lots of mods and lots of water cooling. I think I must be on close to triple digits before long in water cooled builds. And now I'm working at EK in R&D, so developing new products, and I'm pretty on topic when it comes to trends in our industry, and also building systems for EK for shows.
Yeah, definitely. If you have watched this and are interested, definitely go check out Joe's page, because he has some amazing case mods going on.
Yeah. So obviously, Joe, you're pretty much also coming up at this from what should I say? I don't know. End user or enthusiast. Somebody who has been doing it. Who it was your hobby, your job, whatever. But you were into basically what Tim was doing, and then you joined EK to work on the products themselves.
Yeah, exactly. All levels, actually. I started just doing it for myself as a hobby, and then gradually for friends. And I also work with a system integrator, 8-Pack. He makes some insane systems, and so I was also using our products in industry, so to speak.
Cool. All right. So, guys, if you have any questions in the chat for either Attila or Joe, both are very knowledgeable on the topic. Tim is also still here, so we got so much knowledge in this stream, and we're just waiting for them to drop the knowledge on you. So if you have any questions, I'm gonna see if I have some.
If you don't have a question, I can jump in on the topic of liquid and is it conductive or not. So
sure, yeah.
Sure, man.
So I think that someone mentioned in the chat. So most of the new coolants are non-conductive, but as you run the liquid in your loop, it will get ionized. So when it is ionized, then it will become electrically conductive.
Right.
So if you have a leak early in your loop, so like the first few days, most probably you will be just fine. You will just clean it and everything's fine. But if you have a leak after months, which is really rare, because if you have a leak, it's in the first few hours or minutes.
Yeah.
So this is about coolants, and are they conductive or are they not?
Yeah. So over time, you're saying they could become ionized, which means
Yes.
that they will become conductive.
Yes.
But then, by that point, there should be no spill if
yes.
you're not changing anything or
Yes.
doing
Yeah,
anything.
so they're conductive. They're non-conductive in the most critical
Yes.
time frame of building your system.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well put. All right, so cool. I've got some questions. This is not really a very specific question, but maybe you guys can talk more about it. Brian Engelbrecht is saying, what about extreme water cooling, like letting your system sit in a bath of oil? And I kind of know what he means. It's, you know, those mineral oils, I think it was,
Yes.
right? They like completely submerge the hardware in it, and it looks like it's just submerged in water. Is that, you know, that's non-conductive, obviously, but is it something similar that you're using for your fluids now? Is it like that kind of thing, or would that, for example, after enough time, would that also become ionized and become conductive?
No, oils are different, and oils look interesting, but the main thing is that once you have your hardware inside oil, cleaning it afterwards is like almost impossible. So it like looks cool, but once you've done it,
Right.
it's like either you keep it in oil forever, or just throw it away after.
There's no going back.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, or you stir fry it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Put
Thanks.
some chicken wings with it.
Yeah. I got some
Nuggets,
people saying,
nuggets.
No nuggets, yes.
Nuggets.
I got some people saying hi to Attila in the chat, Eric and Joey.
Yeah, I have fans. We have fans.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Let's see. If Beamron is saying, if anybody feels like water cooling my system, I'm fine with this. I guess he's looking for volunteers. Let's see. Whoa, Joe has been standing still there for 5 minutes looking at his camera while explaining. Amazing.
It's a talent. It's just a talent.
Yeah.
Pure talent. I think someone in the comments also mentioned case compatibility with liquid cooling, right? So
Yes.
that's something I can also cover a bit. So EK has this tool called CLC, so Custom Loop Configurator. When you land on our homepage, you will see a huge button Custom Loop Configurator, and this configurator is made out of 7 steps. So where you choose your case which you have, you choose your motherboard, GPU, and then the system leads you through these steps, like, do you want soft tubing? Do you want hard tubing? Do you want a silent PC? Do you want to overclock? And the system will like make a selection of parts which will work with your case. So if you have a fear of choosing the right parts, then you can just go to the EK Custom Loop Configurator, and it will help you select the parts.
That's cool. So
Yes.
that's very handy indeed.
Yes.
So
Next to that, EK also offers kit solutions, I believe, which are like
Yes.
a good base to give it a go if you want to try it.
Yeah, of course.
So, what if, for example, I can also imagine that people might not really already have all the hardware they want, you know, because they think, well, probably I'll have to choose the hardware based on whatever water cooling kit I want. So, if you want to do it the other way around, you can basically also say, well, what if I choose this case, hypothetically, before you buy it, and then see, you know, add other components you have in mind, and then just see what, you know, what you would need, and so you will see the total package you kind of would need to do that build.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So that's also, you know, just for the people who might say, well, you know, if I don't know what I'm going to choose yet, then you can also
Yeah.
just use it that way.
Overall experience liquid cooling guys first like check which hardware has blocks for it, and then they buy the hardware.
Yeah. Oh, and it's also maybe worth mentioning that for new cards and motherboards for the CPU, if you just have the CPU socket, that one should be very standard, so it should be available
Yes.
quite quickly, unless there's a completely new, you know, for example, when Threadripper launched, that required a completely new block, obviously. But like the monoblocks we showed, the ones that also cover the VRMs, those are, you know, different per motherboard, because every motherboard has a different layout. The VRMs will be placed differently, so that will take a little bit longer, because you guys need to either get a schematic for the board or have like the physical board on hand to make you know, a fully custom design and you know, CNC it and everything like that. So yeah, that's sometimes, guys, if you're wondering, hey, you know, this product was just announced, I'm gonna check the EK site, see if there's a water block available. If it's a custom model or a custom graphics card or a custom motherboard, might be that it's not yet available, but if you check, I don't know, maybe you can comment on that. Like, how long does that process usually take, or you know, like, of course it's different per case maybe, but in general.
I will answer one question, and then Joe will talk about
Sure.
how long that does it take. So
Uh-huh.
so EK has the CLC, which is the custom loop configurator, but EK also has the CC. So it's we call it configurator. So it's www.ekwb.com/configurator, and this is probably one of the biggest databases of hardware where you can check if a certain motherboard or like a GPU has a water block for it, and if it's something new, and if we are making a block for it, it will just say coming soon. So that
Okay, so you will announce it.
Yeah. Yes.
Ah, okay, that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
I can vouch for it. It's a system that a lot of water coolers, people that do water cooling use. I mean, if you, to a small side step, when a new card comes out from AMD or an NVIDIA, it comes first as a reference design. Usually for those, there's always a block available within
Quite
a couple
fast.
of times. It's
Yeah,
more
yeah,
the custom PCBs, but even some custom coolers use a reference PCB.
Yeah, true.
So it's really a great tool to go there and check. Okay, I'm thinking about water cooling, and I'm thinking about buying the MSI Trio card. Is there or will there be a great water cooling solution for it that will fit?
Yeah.
And it's
Coming
perfect.
soon.
Exactly.
All right.
Coming soon.
So Joe, can you tell us a little bit about the process of you know how you do that and how long it usually takes you guys to make a custom water block for either a new graphics card or a different motherboard solution?
So from receiving the card to and all of the 3D assets we need to make it, to having a product finished, if we're at full speed, would be approximately 6 weeks.
Wow.
Which is no problem when the card first launches and there is only the Founders Edition.
Yeah.
After that, and all the brands pile on at once, and we have to get all of the resources we need, get the samples we need, then it can take in total a few months before every add-in board card is ready from all the big manufacturers anyway.
And so what if, hypothetically, you would only do MSI products? That would solve a lot of your time issues, wouldn't it?
It certainly would.
That one was below the belt. No, but I mean, you can imagine. I mean, there are even just a graphics card, right? There are so many different custom models that launch with a custom PCB. The same for motherboards. You know, every layout is different. So this is going to be. I mean, how many models, for example, recently with 2080 Ti, for example. Let's just take that one as a GPU. Do you know, just off the top of your head, how many different water blocks you have for that one?
I think in the region, when we're finished for the RTX series, we'll have between 20 and 30, because not many people are sharing PCBs between the TI and the 80 and the 70. So that could be 3 blocks just for the Trio, for example. And then the Lightning comes along, and that's a slightly different PCB.
Yeah.
And the Seahawk is also not identical, and we already did the work for that. But
Yeah. Well, the Seahawk is indeed already. I mean, this is maybe also nice to mention. We have the Seahawk card, which is pre-installed with the full cover water block, right? And so, for you guys who don't know it yet, but the big benefit of that is, and maybe you guys can all vouch for that, is in the past you've probably bought cards, had to remove the cooler, buy separately a water block for it, and then so you have to pay for the full card with air cooling.
And
you don't
buy separate
a backplate
as well.
Exactly, because you want it to look nice. You don't want to look at the PCB. But also you run the risk. I mean, you guys probably obviously know what you're doing, but you do run the risk of voiding warranty by removing the cooler and putting the water cooling on it. So, having this solution with a pre-installed and covered by warranty full cover water block model, I mean, for people who've been doing water cooling, I can imagine this is makes life just a bit easier.
Yeah, and and it also has a special look. So the Seahawk block has a special look which would like match your MSI motherboards, which also have these carbon details on it, because the EK blocks look much more simpler, minimalistic, so people can choose if they like the certain design, then they can choose the Seahawk and like also get warranty with it, so that they don't have to worry about voiding the stickers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I also have a question in the chat by Louis Philippe Tramp, he's called. Is it possible to buy the EK Waterblock for the GPU on the Seahawk? Because the MSI Duke is a reference PCB, so I think it would fit. Slight difference there.
This is not a reference PCB water block.
Yeah, so the Seahawk is actually based on and uses the PCB of the Gaming X Trio pretty much, and that's a custom PCB. So if you have the Duke card, actually life becomes easier for you because it is indeed a reference design PCB. So that means that the reference water block for the Founders Edition, for example, should fit on the
fits,
Duke.
yes.
Yeah.
It also gives you...
Fits.
Sorry, Joe, what'd you say?
It fits, yeah.
It also gives you a bit more options into like all the custom blocks from all manufacturers come, well, they're made from copper, well, just are nickel plated, and usually have a plexiglass form top of it. But for the reference version, EK also does a only copper version, if I'm correct, and only copper with acetal top. So you actually have a bit more to choose from on the same card.
Yeah, but I mean, to answer your question, Louis Philippe, if you have a Duke card, because you say well, I don't know if you already have it. You said that MSI Duke is a reference PCB. You need the the Founders Edition basically compatible water block.
Yes.
So don't go for the. I mean, I don't think you can buy the Seahawk block separately on your website anyway. It's custom made for the Seahawk cards.
Exactly.
There is a separate block if you have, for example, a Gaming X Trio for a 2080 or a 2080 Ti. I believe there is a separate block available for that, and there are some small differences, so connectors. So please don't buy, or actually you can't, but I mean, please don't try to put a Seahawk water block on a Gaming X Trio PCB. You will run into trouble. So
and take Attila's advice: if you have that card, just go to the cooling configurator. Saying, okay, I have an NVIDIA card, and it's MSI,
it's this model,
and it's the Duke.
Yep.
It'll say, well, it's this kind of design, and these are the blocks that will or will not fit for it.
That's what the
configurator is for. And you know 100% sure if you won't have a problem fitting it.
Yeah. So you can always do that. Let's see if there's any other questions. My sadness is infinite right now, but I will buy the EK then. Why? I think, you know...
maybe he likes the design of the water block.
Yeah, maybe, okay, but I think... I have to admit, I haven't really studied the design for the Founders Edition, the reference board, but I think, you know, most of EK products look very, very good anyway. So I don't know, probably it's missing the carbon elements maybe. Yes. I don't know. Yes. But otherwise, it should look in style and look and feel. It should look somewhat similar. It doesn't have the dragon. I mean, if that's what you want, then that's we're gonna have to disappoint you. Good news is though, you could probably put a sticker on it. You can always do that.
Case mod, but then on the graphics card.
Yeah.
Mod your graphics card. Warranty's gone though, but you can make it look however you want.
Yeah. So there's that.
You could just hit up Tim and say, hey Tim, I want a dragon on my block, and he will fix you up.
Yes,
exactly.
I will send you an egg and you can hatch it yourself.
I thought maybe he's going to take out his magic marker and just, just draw it on there.
Drawing is not my best point. No.
All right. Let's see, any other questions, guys? If you have any questions, let me know. The design of the Seahawk is just amazing. All right, well, thanks. That's a big compliment to both us and EK, obviously.
Yeah.
It's a co-worked effort. Let's see. I think we've got a lot of people in the chat also answering questions.
Yeah, I mean, it is a really standard thing that the liquid cooling community is really strong. So that if you have questions about liquid cooling, you can find pretty like straightforward answers on Facebook in certain groups, cable modders groups, performance PC group, and stuff like that. So you can find really straightforward answers what to do and how to do it. So there's really no fear about liquid cooling.
Exactly.
These days, back in the days, you had certain forums and information was much more limited, but nowadays it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's a little bit more mainstream, or well, maybe not mainstream, but there are a lot more people doing it, and it's a lot safer.
I think you used the right term. Water cooling is becoming more and more mainstream.
Yeah.
You can see it. More brands are coming to this stage. There are various ways, like between. I think EK themselves offers versions that are like closed loop.
Yeah.
They have special connectors on them that you can expand, etc.
Yeah.
It's becoming more and more that people want to, and maybe the ones that are a bit afraid of it, there are products for them as well. So I'm definitely seeing it more and more.
Yeah. And so the main benefits again would be both aesthetics. Some people, especially with the hard tubing, it can look really amazing, really nice. And there's a lot of customization you can do with different colors of liquid. Some lights even involved, so there's so much you can do.
Various reservoirs.
Yeah, various reservoirs. There's so much you can do with it. It's like whatever you can think of, you can pretty much make. But also, the temperature. So if you want a system to run very cool, and I believe it's also very silent. There are still some fans involved, of course, with the radiators. But usually, as far as I know, and what I've heard, most water-cooled builds are a bit more silent, or a lot more silent than air-cooled ones.
Yes, the more radiator you put in there, the lower you can use fan RPMs, and that means it will just go almost dead silent.
So let's see. My fear is the cost. Can you?
Sorry.
Well, I heard you did have something to address that, Tilla.
Yes, we have. So we will be launching a small promotion within a week, I hope. So that everyone that already owns a Seahawk card, he can use his serial number inside our shop as a discount code, and he will receive a 10% discount on his whole order. So just follow our social media, or if you want, sign up for our newsletter, and you will be informed of this promotion when it starts.
Nice. And this is exclusive for MSI. So you say if somebody has a card, but I mean, obviously you need the card to have the serial number, but if you don't have it yet, but you plan on doing it, and you want that 10% discount, just make sure you buy one of those cards. But you do need the serial number to be able to apply the discount.
Yes, of course.
But very nice, 10% discount. So guys, and Beameron, I think, it helps. It's a very nice discount. So yeah. Let's see if we get any other. What are the differences between air-cooled and custom liquid-cooled cards in terms of temperatures? Eric is asking.
The differences can go up to 20 degrees difference between the air-cooled and the liquid-cooled, just because water is so much more efficient with moving heat from one point to another than air. So the temperature differences are quite big.
But it's always dependent on a number of factors, right? So there's room temperature, so you can never pretty much, the room temperature kind of decides also what temperature the water is. So if you are in a very cold room, the water will also get a bit colder, so it will probably, so that. There is the size of the radiator you're using. So Tim already mentioned it. The bigger the radiator you're using, the more surface area you have to cool, to get rid of the heat basically. So better cooling performance. What other factors? Because I think EK also uses, I've seen on a couple of things like high velocity or something like that, high velocity pumps or something like this.
Actually, the pump speed doesn't impact cooling performance all that much. People buy powerful pumps just because powerful pumps run more silent, because you can run them or on lower speeds, and
Right.
powerful pumps are also more redundant. So D5 pump you can run for 5 years without any issues. One more factor with liquid cooling is also the case. So there are a lot of very nice looking cases on the market, but if the case has bad airflow, then it will also impact your cooling performances as
Right.
well.
Okay, that makes sense because you know there still needs to be airflow
Yeah.
from outside of the case to in the case and then out again through the radiator.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
and
we'll definitely
the-
share some experience on that. It's completely what he says. And the same thing, if you want to have an air-cooled solution run the lowest temps, you need to ramp up the fans quite a bit, and they become more and more noisy over time. So yeah, I think with the custom with a full cover block, without going completely crazy on overclocking, I think that like a steady 45 temperature Celsius is not that uncommon.
yeah.
Uh,
And what about the materials? Because I read some of your blogs, Attila. I also did a little bit of research. And
Thank
one
you.
of the big things is also like there's a big, well, I don't want to say controversy, but there's a discussion about using copper versus using aluminium or something like that in the water block. So does that also have a big impact, or is it like minimal in terms of the whole picture?
It is minimal. It is only 1 to 3 degrees difference because the main limitation with cooling is actually the silicon itself. So heat transfer inside the chip
Yeah.
is the main limitation for like having liquid cooling even more efficient.
Yeah. Okay, clear.
Also, if you are using liquid cooling, and if you want to go extreme, you can also do something like something that Peter Brands did. So I believe Peter has his radiators far away from his PC so that you can expel heat and like noise far away from your PC, just like running longer hoses away from your hardware and
Right.
job done.
Okay, cool. Okay, so thank you. I think we have to move on with the stream, but thank you so much for all the answers, for all the knowledge. Thank you for joining, guys. If you're in the chat, if you have any questions, I believe a lot of people who with a lot of knowledge are in the chat. Maybe even some people from EK will be in the chat, but you can always ask again. Like they mentioned, you can go if you have any questions or want to know more about the information. The website from EK is actually provides a lot of information about water cooling in general and a lot of specific topics as well. There's a lot of good blogs that address certain topics, so very useful to go there if you want to know more about it. Thank you guys for joining, Attila and Joe.
Welcome.
We will see you maybe in a future stream.
Thanks for inviting us, and feel free to invite us again. Like you said, if anyone has any questions, the EK support is actually really friendly. So if you are just considering liquid cooling, you can write to our support team, and they will help you out with liquid cooling in general.
Alright. Good to know.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys. See you around.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye bye.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right, so let's remove the earpieces then. Let's see, and I can probably also remove my laptop from here where I had the slides, because now we're gonna go for a bit more of a hands-on experience. Maybe first we can choose a winner already for one of the Steam code giveaways. So we have a Steam code giveaway, $20. Just go to msi.com/2/insider, and you'll have a chance to win one of the Steam codes. There we'll give you the instructions. So I will first
Steam
give...
codes,
Yes.
games. It means games.
Yes, games, guys. Any
Exactly.
games or DLC or whatever you want, you know. Let me check. Okay, so we already have quite a bit of entries. Let me just draw a winner. There we go. All right, so we have a winner, Romana Rajkovic. Congratulations! We'll email the Steam code to you probably tomorrow. But thank you for joining, and make sure you keep watching. If you have any questions, again, let us know. Anybody else who wants a crack at winning one of the Steam codes, go to msi.com/2/insider and make sure you like our YouTube and our Twitch channel, and you'll have double the chance to win. Okay, so moving on then. Well, we've got some builds. So we've got this build, right? And this is a hard tubing build, a prime example of that. But we also asked you to prepare something for this stream, kind of custom, right? We asked you to. Well, I mean, you're a custom build guy, so it wouldn't be, you know.
So I made a nice test build with these new graphics cards to show, you know, how do they look when they're all fitted and working in the system. Yeah. So let's put this one down and grab the other one.
Let's make some space. We're gonna need it. I'll just slide this here. Alright.
Don't break this one.
What do you mean this one?
Here we can put a bit to the left, so you can also use the other.
There we go. Okay.
It's an
Yeah, I just get cables out of the way.
cable management.
Exactly. Who needs it? We do, apparently.
Everybody does.
Alright, so this is a fully custom build. Maybe, I think we have a slide showing the specs, or some of the specs. Maybe we can turn it a little bit indeed. Other way?
Right.
We're getting some questions about maybe showing some of the stuff going on.
We'll have the hand cam in a bit.
Exactly.
And we'll
I
just
have a
walk
close
around the
cam.
systems.
This one here.
Should we do the walk around first then?
Yeah. All right. Let's do it.
Okay, let's put it a bit to the left, just because the cable is not long enough.
Yeah. Okay.
So EK provided us with some very nice water cooling hardware. In the base we have an MSI Z390 ACE motherboard, and we have two RTX 2080s in here, the Seahawk editions. So they're running an NVLink. And right, to finish this off,
You got the finishing touch right there.
There we go. We have the NVIDIA Link with the MSI one. So we have a EK. We have an EK Velocity CPU block, EK D5 pump with reservoir integrated. So it's also like when you're beginning a small solution, you don't have a separate reservoir and separate pump with top, but it's all in one with an in and an out and a top port to fill it up.
So if I'm understanding correctly, the pump is actually integrated. So this is basically in here, or
exactly.
Okay.
It's a D5 pump. It's now upside down. So the impeller is on the top here.
Mm-hmm.
It has holes based on the inlet and the outlet. It goes on the side. The coolant goes into the reservoir, and in the middle it gets sucked down to go into the pump, and then basically the pump shoots it into the hose.
into the tubes. All right.
Yes.
Cool.
So we have T-pump. We have this one under here. Oh, it's gonna be tough.
Can we shoot from this? No.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Yeah, we can. On the left and the right.
Let's see how we can show this.
There, this one, and on the other side as well, we have a 360mm radiator. Can we maybe show it from here? Oh, so I turn it a bit.
Yeah, so here you can see the fans.
Yes, I thought maybe if we can run this, might as well do two radiators and EK RGB Vardar fans, basically designed to work with radiators.
Oh my God! All that RGB.
No rainbows, okay? And for this build, because I really wanted to have make it look a bit like with the color scheme we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the blocks are the black with the nice brushed silver in it and the nickel. So I thought, you know, let's try and use a matte black hose. This time it's a soft hose. It's I think called neoprene from EK. It actually I think really looks nice. It's definitely a choice to go for if you want that more sleek look of it.
Yeah.
And the EK compression fittings for soft tubing, and this again is the size 16 outside diameter and 10 millimeters inside diameter.
So here obviously everything is pretty much already connected, right? So you can see some of the things that you already showed, some of the fittings, the tubing. So you can see, for example, one of the fittings and going into the graphics card in one hole, and then it goes through out the other and then into the other. Here we go. So, but how do you do this basically? So for the people who don't know, who've never done this before, is this like really easy? What do you need to watch?
Yeah, there's like for the starters to work with, you know, okay, what are some basic rules to do a custom loop into? First of all is put the reservoir higher than the pump. That way always the coolant goes down just by gravity and goes to the pump. A pump must never run dry. The pump is basically cooled and lubricated with the liquid that it expels through the system. So if that runs dry, you have a well, if it runs dry long enough, then it will just it'll die.
Damage, at least. So lesson one: make sure the reservoir and the pump are physically positioned above the rest of the components, pretty much.
Well, just long as the reservoir is above the pump.
Okay.
That's the most the most important thing. Another question that you see a lot of when people are asking about this is, well, what is the order of stuff that you put it in? And the answer is really simple. It really doesn't make a very big difference. At some point, you know, you run the system, it'll get to a certain couple of degrees, the coolant, and it'll just like an average temperature of that coolant. Yeah. It's not like it comes out of the radiator completely cool and then enters something and gets completely hot again. At some point you get just like an average temperature of your coolant, depending on how many chips you are cooling and how many radiator or how much radiator surface you're actually using into your system. The system here, I wanted to add, we have now two 360s. That's very nice. That's basically enough to do overclocking on both cards and onto the CPU as well.
And there's like not a small time CPU in there, right? There's like one of the more powerful or
it's
one of the most
core.
powerful. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, definitely.
So again, you know, this is a very powerful build, which means that potentially if you go and overclock this, it will use a massive amount of power. And two 2080s, I mean, that will use quite a lot of power as well.
Yeah, there's a rule of thumb that gets used in the industry for people that are new to it. Of course, there are some people that will be like, yeah, I'm not sure about that, but it's like an average. It's just something to start you with. If you don't want to overclock, you just want to run your system, then one square 120 millimeter radiator is enough per chip. So then it would be 1, 2, and the CPU is 3, and a 360 would be enough to just run it.
The whole system in this case.
Exactly, and if you do some normal overclocking, especially with the graphics cards, because underwater now, they with NVIDIA, how overclocking works, it just adapts itself based on the temperatures, etc. I would use a little headroom for it just to make sure that your cooling temperature doesn't get so warm that it starts making less difference, air cooling or water cooling.
Yeah. Because you do want that benefit from water cooling. If you do this, you want the lower temperatures.
Exactly. You don't want fans like turbine setting.
No.
You want a decently quiet system that has nice and low temperatures.
Yeah. Okay. So
show the lights.
Show the lights. Everybody's saying we want that RGB.
Oh my!
Can we power it up?
Yeah. They really want RGB.
Woo. Okay. So maybe do we need to turn off the lights? Kill the lights? Not yet. Later. Maybe we can show a little bit on the close-up cam as well. Then give a little bit of a show.
Basically, right now, when Windows starts up, everything will be on white.
Except the cards, I see they're
Well,
on.
when Windows starts up and the software
okay,
as well,
yeah.
then it will be all
Cards
white.
right now are on rainbow mode.
Yes.
Ooh, look at that.
They did a really good job on putting the lighting evenly over the cards.
Yeah.
See now the
Looks amazing. And now it's turned to white. There you go.
yep.
Yeah.
And the memory is still on rainbow settings.
Crazy
so it's
mode.
a little bit,
Yeah.
it's because it's dark.
Yeah.
You can see the CPU is also lit
There. Yeah.
on top, just like that. It's RGB in it. The pump reservoir combination also has RGB in it. This is Corsair memory that has RGB in it. The graphics card have built-in RGB in it. It's put on white on here, and these fans from EK are also RGB fans. But to not get a seizure every time you look at it, I really try to put it on white for the stream for now. But if you want to, later point we're going to set it up.
And even the SLI bridge here has
yes,
some LEDs in it, but maybe I don't know if there's a chroma key active. If there is, here there is. So you'll probably see transparent because it's green by default. But all of this can be changed in the software. Yeah. But I mean, just look at that. If you build this into a case, even run it like this, I mean, it's a show unto itself.
Yep. And the lights are back on.
Yeah.
So we are going to put it on a
RGB is 50% more performance.
yes,
Everybody knows that.
more frames per second, definitely.
Oh yeah. That RGB makes all the difference, dudes. Seriously, you cannot have performance or ray tracing or overclocking without RGB. It just doesn't work.
Nope, nope, nope.
We've tried it, doesn't work.
Well, we can show if there's interest in the questions in the chat, then we can show a bit of the how the RGB gets put on different settings on screen.
If you want,
later on.
maybe we can already connect the PC so we can see. Actually, right now it's not connected to anything.
Well,
we probably need to turn it
we'll
around
need to
again.
turn it. Yeah, it's okay.
There you go. And I'll grab the peripheral cables as well. I don't know if we need network. Probably not if we're not gonna do multiplayer gaming.
Do some Fortnite right here on the stream.
Woo! Okay. Let's see.
I'm seeing some questions again. Let me read one while things are getting hooked up.
Yes.
Louis Philippe is asking, is a 1360mm radiator enough for a Ryzen 2700X and a RTX 2080 Duke with a good overclock? Well, like I said, the rule of thumb is like 120 per chip. If you, with a 360, it will be just about is it enough or not. Depends on how much overclocking you will do and what temperatures you want to reach. A 400mm for 80mm, or a like a 420, so triple 140 or dual 240, etc. You got 4 fans or 3 bigger fans. It would be slightly a more safe bet, I think. But if you want to try, you can try, and you can always change your loop, because it's custom loop. Want to pick another one?
Sure. Isn't it better to have a tank and loop for each component?
Brian Engelbrecht is asking, isn't it better to have a reservoir and a loop for each component? Well, I think it depends on what you mean with better. It doesn't per se help with temperatures, because that's more about your radiator surface. For maintenance, well, at the same time, it's more components, so it's more expensive and there's more tubing going around. On the other side, if you want to change one of the two, either a CPU or a block, then you only need to dismantle one of the 2 loops. But in general, I don't think I could say that it's better performance because you have dual loop instead of a single loop.
I'll see if I can connect the capture card so you guys
Spy-
also see.
Spider Logan's asking, does the lighting make the system run faster? Well, definitely, definitely.
Where have you been living? Have you been living under a rock? Yes, it does. No. I think another one that kind of ties into what you were saying just now is Sagar Gupta says, what makes these water blocks so expensive?
It's multiple factors. There's of course the team that actually is designing the thing. The blocks, the bases of them are made of copper. Now, copper price is quite high at the moment, and it needs a computer-controlled milling machine to actually mill them out. You can see over time, over the couple of years, that the surfaces, the quality, just how it looks, the finish of it is getting much better and better. And
maybe you can show it because it's machined, right? You can actually see it. I don't know if we can get the close-up cam here.
yes, you can see still under the nickel plating, you can see the lines of the machinings going on, like with all the.
Yeah.
So it's and because especially for custom PCBs, they make small runs of these cards because there's not like thousands of people that want them only for that card. So small runs with custom work, yeah, then the price basically
Per unit.
yes, and just a costly way of manufacturing things makes it more expensive.
By the way, can we get another close-up view? Just for the people who like this kind of stuff.
Shh.
I can do some peeling. I don't. You probably can't hear the sound, but a peel reveal. Let's see, because this one just is completely new out of the box.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but
I certainly can.
it has,
So yeah, this is.
it has a new look, the new smell to it.
Yep. Yep.
Even the EK logo has its own little.
Yes. Yeah. So
Plastic.
let's do that as well.
I think it's actually 2 layers.
It could be, yeah. It's very well preserved. Let's see, mint condition, guys, mint condition.
Not anymore.
Well, it won't be for long. There you go. I don't know if is this another
Yeah,
layer.
there's not a
there we
layer
go.
on it.
It's I was gonna say, is this a new edition of the EK logo? It's blue. Let's see. Oh wow. They should really make a little bit of a lip on there or something to make it easier to pry it off. Because now I'm afraid I'm gonna actually scratch the little logo itself. Here we go. There it is. So as you can see, you know, this is just the finish on it. It's so premium, high quality. Look at that.
There's one more question that's interesting. Is Spider Logan says, I really want overclocking out of the box and no fiddling around. Well, like I mentioned earlier, the way that NVIDIA right now creates the chips and everything behind it is that it, well, it's trying, it clocks itself higher based on the temperatures of various components of in the system. So basically, if you water cool a card, then already just by itself it should reach higher megahertz, just faster speeds. But you know, to get the most out of everything, it's the same with the presets. This motherboard has all kinds of overclocking presets on it, and they work well. They're safe, but you will always get like the real overclocking guys. They will say, no, I get the most out of it if I fiddle it myself.
Yeah.
That's just because of the what we call silicon lottery. So the chip itself, every chip that comes out of the factory is just slightly different, and some run cooler, some run more, some need more or less voltage to get to the same speed for it, and that's why they say, you know, I also need to customize my my overclock for it.
Yeah. And also, I mean, there's different levels of overclocking. Obviously, we've covered this in previous streams as well. I can understand some people want overclocking. For some people, is a game in itself to see just how much they can get out of it, or which world records they can break for the extreme overclocking. Most cards, like Tim already said, they use something called GPU boost, which is technology from NVIDIA, for example. So it will try to boost as much as possible depending on the space it has. But it's also very easy in some of our software. So before we had gaming app of our old cards, which has a gaming and OC option. It kind of overclocks the card a little bit by itself, just by a single click. So it makes it very easy. Now we have Dragon Center, which is for the new cards. It will be active. It has the same function, so it will also provide a normal mode, basically with normal speeds, and an OC, so an overclocked setting. But even in Afterburner, it makes it very, very easy these days because we have the OC scanner. So literally one click with a button, and give it 10-15 minutes, it will find the optimal overclock for your card. You don't have to fiddle around with anything. It will do it for you. All you have to do is then apply the profile, and that's it. So really very easy. Anyway, yeah. Let's see. So, do we have? Maybe we can draw another winner.
It's not me.
Giveaway? No, but maybe you can show the giveaway visual again. There we go. All right, so guys, we have a giveaway today with $20 Steam codes. You can win. Go to msi.com/2/insider if you haven't done it already. Subscribe to our YouTube and Twitch channels for double the chance to win. And we're gonna make a second person happy for today. Let's see.
Another drum roll.
Yes. Draw another winner. And we have Paul Elbrink. Congratulations.
Congrats, Paul.
We'll send you the code tomorrow. Great that you're joining us. We hope you're enjoying it. Let us know if you have any question about water cooling that we can help you with. Otherwise, just enjoy the gorgeous visuals and this really nice build. I'm doing it.
So what color do we need to set it to? And we have a suggestion? Give us a suggestion.
We've got it live. What we can also do later on is maybe a benchmark to show the temperatures. I think maybe that's also interesting for some people.
Right now, everything you see on here, every piece of RGB is actually controlled with the software from the motherboard from MSI. It's the Mystic Light software.
Yeah.
Basically, is using like the graphics cards and the memory are actually controlled because they are just attached to the PCI slots and the DIMM slots. And the EK products have normal RGB connectors, so both also the fans and the reservoir and the CPU block are actually connected to the RGB headers on the motherboard. And with the software you can put everything on something else if you want, but you can also sync them up. Right now they're all synchronized into white. Yeah. But yeah, no. If you want to see blue, we'll do blue. Yeah, if you want to see red, we'll do red.
If you want to see green, it disappears because there's a chroma key. But maybe we can go to the capture so I can show you guys the software and how what it detects. Oh, apparently, is there a duplicating screen effect? Maybe. There we go. Ah, there we go. Okay. Right. So. It's in Dutch. I'm actually
Dutch, so
I'm confused. I'm Dutch, but I was like not ready for this, so I was really like expecting English, so I couldn't really comprehend. Anyway, so this is the Dragon Center software. When you're in the software in the main window, it looks like this. As you can see, Mystic Light is now included for our latest products into this software package. So again, this software is meant to pretty much put as much software as possible into one software solution for you guys, so you don't have to install 10 different software packages. So when we click the Mystic Light, here we see everything that's detected. So we've got the motherboard, of course, you've got graphics card 1 and graphics card 2. We've got the SLI bridge, we've got the DRAM, we've got, of course, the mouse. I'm holding right here.
The peripherals.
Exactly, and the keyboard. So the pumps and the EK stuff, that's not specifically or separately mentioned, but I guess it will be under motherboard. So that will be, oh, here we go. So you've got the different
RGB.
Exactly, you've got the different connectors here. Okay, there we go.
Yep.
And they will indicate when you click them which ones are highlighted.
Somebody with a purple icon, do purple.
Yes, and I see a lot of red as well.
Yeah? Okay, let's do for red first. That's
MSI red.
Actually, I'm colorblind. Do you know that?
Yes, that's the one.
Which one?
Yeah, that's correct. That's good.
Yeah.
Don't let Peter do this. He's colorblind.
Don't tease me. So
there we go.
I think now I'm only selecting the motherboard, or Yeah, so this is only the motherboard. So as you can see, I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah, I know. That's why I wanted to show that. Can you switch quickly to the main cam? So everything connected to the motherboard. So the fans, the pump, and the CPU block, I should say.
Yep.
That's all red. But as you can see, the graphics card still white, and the memory also still white. And that's because indeed I didn't click one icon. So if we go back to the capture, you can see this is basically a very quick option to say, okay, I want everything linked. I want everything to be synchronized. Mystic Light Sync.
Apply.
Exactly. And then I can say apply. So now it should apply the same effect or the same color selection to everything.
It's white.
It's still set to white though. As
Should I do the coloring again if you're colorblind?
Yeah, you do that. I'll man the cam.
It's okay. Well, we were requested a red, so let's start with a red first.
Ooh.
So you can see now all the blocks, even the GPU blocks, all the fans,
Even the really fancy mirror infinity effect. Oh, that's a lamp in there. But as you can see, everything is red.
Yes, well, let's do Alex. Axel is all. He wants a purple. So let's give Axel some
Sure,
purple.
sure. So we're gonna cover the whole rainbow spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Before
No,
we're done.
I think purple is just about where we'll end.
Ah, nice. As you can see, we'll do a quick flyby.
Yep, it's
Oh.
it's better to see in real life because of all the lighting that we
Yeah.
use for the
The studio is very bright, obviously.
studio.
I don't know if I can show. Maybe from this. Actually, the cable is a little bit short. Let's not do that. Okay.
Let's keep it with the MSI red then. I saw an interesting question earlier as well, that someone asked, well, if you use multiple radiators, do you need multiple reservoirs or multiple pumps? No, you don't. Basically, if you have, especially with a D5 pump or another pump that's strong enough, you can just, link them all together, and just a single radiator reservoir with pump will be fine. Only if you go really, really crazy, like I think too bad they're out of business now, but Case Labs used to do amazing big chassis and people put like 6 or radiators in it. Yeah, then you might consider using 2 pumps at the same time, or actually split the loop, because it's pushing a lot of water then. But in general, for your gaming system without going crazy, is not needed.
And also keep in mind, the more water you add, the heavier it will become. So, if you have like a crazy build with like, I don't know, 100 liters of water cooling it, make sure you also rent a forklift truck or something to help you move the chassis to wherever you want it.
All right.
So that's very nice. But
One bench
yeah, let's do some benches.
from what? Do we the Tsuki CPU ID, or do you want to?
Well, I don't know actually. What did you install on this
Well,
one?
you can. What about you install the MSI software for it, and in the meantime, I'll give some hints about some tools to use for water cooling.
Okay.
Is that an
let's see
idea?
if I can get a cable.
And we have some interwebs.
Yeah, we need some interwebs.
All
If we
right.
can make it.
I'm gonna put some tools forward. I didn't bring everything I have, of course, because I need a truck for that. I have various tools here laying in front of me that are more like used for creating a loop. As previously mentioned, I have several fittings for both hard tubing and for soft tubing. There are fittings that used to change angles on it for 90 degree angles, stuff like that. You have special fittings called stop fittings. So if you use an opening like on the top of the reservoir, it's nice to see on this build, or the openings on the GPUs that you don't use, you can use stop fittings for that. And these are various fittings that have a male to male or a female to female to create all kinds of loops. If I can have I think I can. Can I have a
I think I can.
small? Can you see this? Yeah, it's pretty. So basically what this system is, and was also a tip for water cooling, is that you add in a tab. A tab you want is basically an emptying point for your loop at the No, it's not a beer tap. It's a water tap. Basically for easy maintenance. So what you do is you put it in the lowest position into your system, and when you want to change fluid, or if whatever during the first process you have sprung a leak, you just open the tap, and then you can release the coolant from the system well, quite quickly. I wouldn't just open it like that. I've got something else for that. So that was very amateuristic.
Which benchmark do we want to see, by the way? Because I kind of want to go with 3D Mark, but that's going to take a while to download. So what's the smallest benchmark that we can quickly install and show the temperatures?
Battlefield 5.
Yeah, no, that won't take a while. Yeah, very good suggestion.
I think
Heaven? Okay.
Yes. So this is basically what you usually use. It's just one fitting and a piece of hose that you have left, and you put that on the tap, and at that moment you can just put it back in the bottle. So about the tools, when you're doing soft tubing, you can just cut it with a knife if you want to, but you can even let's go there. I bought, because I'm doing more, I bought basically a soft, a hose cutter. That's basically it for easy cutting. When you're doing hardline tubing, there are more tools actually to use. The thing is, if you have a piece of pipe and you want to put it, you cut it, well, you can use a saw, a small saw for it. You can use a pipe cutter, depending on what material the pipe is made of. But after that, you basically end up with some a very straight edge on it. And because fittings usually have O-rings inside of them, so you put first the pipe into the fitting and then a compression onto it, and you can actually damage the O-ring. So that is what this tool is for. It's the same that you would see in any hardware shop with you, if you do some plumbing, or if you know there's someone that does plumbing, and basically is a deburr tool. So if you have cut it, you can basically deburr the inside and the outside, so you get a small, there we go. It's a deburr tool. It is for the outside, this is for the inside, and basically what you end up, instead of a very straight edge, it will create a 45-degree angle on the outside, the edge of the pipe, and that way if you put it into the fitting and there's O-rings in it, I can maybe take off the compression ring. There's actually, as you can see, an O-ring inside of it, and when you put in the tube, then because there's a 45-degree angle on it, you won't damage the O-ring on the inside of it. What use when? If you use, because in general there are two kinds of plastic tubes. That's acrylic and that's PETG. The PETG is much softer. It bends easier because of a lower temperature. It will actually become soft compared to acrylic. It's also because of that less prone to crack when there's some transport, etc. going on. If you use PETG, you can easily even use this one, but a pipe cutter is also perfect for it. But if you have the acrylic, that's actually more brittle as it cracks easier, then you will definitely need to use a saw for it, because if you use a pipe cutter, it'll just shatter, and that's not very helpful. The other things that you need to have if you want easy water cooling is, of course, a fill bottle and a funnel to put onto your
Which color?
reservoir. Oh, it's gone. Am I gone? Am I gone as well? Look, man, I'm a unicorn.
It's
I'm a blue unicorn.
It's green, guys. It's green. That's why you don't see it.
They didn't
It's
tell
a
me
very
for it.
special
Sorry,
one.
Sorry. But a small funnel for it. And if you want to actually start bending tubes instead of just using fittings for it, you need a silicone insert. Silicone insert is actually to put inside the tube, and you can use either a very powerful hairdryer, which I don't have, as you can, obviously.
Why?
Or you can use like a paint stripping gun, a heat gun, You put it on its backside, and you just heat up the pipe, and then afterwards, when it's soft, it's heated enough, then you can actually like change the bends on it. Let it cool down again. Remove the insert, and you have bent pipes.
So what do you use usually to bend pipes? I mean, I've seen pictures. It's great. I did some research a little bit, and I saw some pictures. I don't know if this is like a meme or something, but people, using their gas stove, like an open flame, and they were just, holding it above that.
I wouldn't recommend it, but each to his own. I always use like a heat gun.
Okay.
Just a paint stripping heat gun.
What's the temperature you need to have? I mean, because a blow dryer, I mean, you mentioned it, but it might not be sufficient in temperature.
I'm not sure if you go onto the websites of the EK etc. that say what temperature for a acrylic reservoir or for a tube is smart or not, then they will say don't go with cooling temperatures over 60 degrees, because you go over 60 then it will start getting soft. So basically it's just above that, but it's when you're bending tubes, it's more of a feeling thing. You just have it. You don't put it too close to it because it will burn. You will get all kinds of bubbles into the acrylic. A bit more, and when you just turn it because you want it evenly warm, at some point you will see that it starts sagging a bit, and then you've hit the spot where it becomes soft. You just keep it going on for just a more bit, and then you can just very easily
it becomes soft and bendable.
Yes.
Because I get a question also from Louis Philippe. He's asking a lot of questions. Great. So for a beginner, what would you recommend, or what is easier, PETG or acrylic? What is, for a beginner, kind of, what is easier to do?
PETG, I think, would be easier, but with PETG, you do need to have in mind that you have enough radiator going on, because PETG has a lower temperature where it becomes soft. So if for whatever reason your temperature goes up, then you actually could have a risk of the tip of the tube, because of the heat, might just go soft and just goes inwards, and then it comes loose out of the tube, the fitting.
Then you get a leak.
Yeah, but in way of handling it, then PETG is easier than acrylic.
Specifically because it has a lower point at which it becomes.
But it because also you have it just wiggles a bit. It's just easier. It doesn't break as fast as that, so it's more
a bit more forgiving.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Let's see. Yeah, the internet is a little bit slow, guys. I don't know, somebody else using the connection, downloading something they shouldn't be downloading, maybe. Anyway, so it's just taking a couple of minutes to download. I also got the suggestion for AIDA 64, so I'm also downloading that. This is a very small package, so takes a little while though. So we can still do. I mean, while we're waiting, we can make some people happy. Obviously, Steam code giveaway, $20 Steam code. Again, if you want to participate, just go to msi.com/2/insider. Make sure you like our YouTube and Twitch pages, and you'll have double the chance to win. So we'll draw another winner. Tim, if you can do the ruffle. Let's see.
Come on, I can do this all day. Who will it be?
All right. Okay. Eric, Cernan, Andrew, Basilio.
Oh man, 4 names. Congrats.
I think actually I saw this guy just entered the chat or something, and he said he was from South America. So very early morning there, but really good to have you with us, dude.
Yeah, man, enjoy your
and you win a Steam code.
Your voucher.
So we'll get that to you as soon as possible later this week. But congratulations again. We've got one more code to give this stream anyway. Make sure you subscribe by the end of the stream. You can still win a code. So go to msi.com/2/insider and like our click the button there. It will lead you to Gleam link. Anyway, just follow the instructions.
We have some more questions going on.
Let's see. Pick me. That's not a question. I can see where bending these pipes would be a trial and error process and will take a learning curve and acquired skill.
Yeah, a bit.
I mean, but if you screw up, can you correct it? Is it easy like to reheat it and then correct it, or is that really difficult?
No, but well, you can, but you will never get that, like the perfect flowing bend that you really want.
That feel, that perfect. Oh.
Exactly, that PC Master Race thing that I don't have going on.
The perfect curve.
It is, and it's always smart to order extra pipes if you want to do that, and just try. You see how it goes, and even still, I've done dozens of builds, and when there's a specific curve that I want to do, I still make it and think, nah, it's not good enough, and I'll just grab a new piece and do it again.
Okay. This sounds wrong. Wait a minute, it scrolled up. This sounds wrong from the fact I started watching when he said gets harder and softer. And then another person replied, that's the way tech works, so much innuendo. Yeah, that's true. But no, it's about water cooling and pipes and bending that and stuff, so don't worry.
This way you can easily swap between this and the other stream you're watching. It's just...
Okay, so I have another question, which Christian Marty one, who says, or is asking, which reservoir would thou recommend? I think he means you, but
thou. That's pretty old school, man.
Yeah. Which dost thou recommend?
Thou, sir. Basically, nowadays, water cooling gear from the big brands are all high quality.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your big brands going on. It's more of a what do you prefer to use. In this case, we've used all EK, and this is a perfect example to use. It's very easy. It mounts very easy. Loads of options to mount. It has the pump integrated. Well, you can choose to have one with RGB integrated as well, and it's very easy to use. But basically, it's not like this one is better or that one is more tricky. It's more of a what do you prefer in terms of looks nowadays, and I think that's I think maybe less interesting as a choice, but at the same time it means that
you can't really go wrong.
That the industry is really like in not in its beginning form, but is really in a state where most of them are making just very good products.
Yeah.
Just be another tip because of this question.
Tim's tips.
Yes, big reservoirs might look cool, but really don't pick too big reservoirs.
It's not about the size, guys. Just to stay in the innuendo thing.
I'm out. No, because it really, because a lot of the time in a typical chassis at the top, there's also radiators, there's fans, and then you think, well, I can fit that reservoir right in there, and then to actually fill the system or bleed the system, etc. Sometimes you bite a bigger piece than you can chew. Let's call it like that. Really have in mind, what do I need and what can I fit into the chassis? Let's see.
Any other questions? Oh, I think I need to scroll down. Here we go. Why is Tim's shirt so outdated?
I already answered.
Okay, alright.
But what did you say?
No.
Do I get a new one?
No.
Also, happy Chinese New Year to you guys, Wong Xiong-jun. Let's see, well, I think pretty much we're ready to do a benchmark. So I've got a couple of things here. I don't know if Heaven scales that well. I mean, this is a very high-end system, but we can try. Let's do the preset extreme, obviously. It's just basically, it's not really about the benchmark result as much as the temperature. Crap, I just realized, what will we use
IDA has that.
Yeah, let's get temperatures.
It should have GPU temperatures and everything.
Where is it? No. Where can I see it? Oh my god.
The motherboard or computer.
Yeah. Sensors there?
Yep.
Probably.
Yeah.
But does it log it also? I don't know.
No.
It just shows it in real time. Maybe we should see, it's hopefully it's windowed. Should be. Then we can have it open on the side. So we're just going to stress the system, and it's basically just to show you guys, you know, the kind of temperatures you should expect, and you know what you can have when you do proper water cooling with reasonably sized reservoirs.
The fans are currently on very low because I didn't want the sound for the stream to like go over our voices.
Yep.
But it should be good enough, definitely.
Yeah.
We have the GPU as well.
Yeah.
Let's CPU. Let's
here
go.
we go. Well, let's. I don't see. Oh, here we go. Yeah. I missed them. So, one GPU. I don't know. Did we not enable SLI?
Probably not.
Ah.
But right now, as you can see on the single card.
Yep. That's like
It's-
40 degrees.
Yep.
It's quite hot here, guys. I mean, this always happens during the stream. It's a relatively small room. We don't really have an air conditioning unit running.
Yeah, it's like 24 degrees in here now.
At the end of the stream, it's a sauna. But yeah, I mean, you can see also the cores pretty much not really reaching more over 40 degrees max, 41 maybe.
Load machine, laten zien.
Yeah, because it's GPU.
Yeah, and the load. Maybe I'll show you like this. Well, the processor is not really being loaded that much, but GPU is being loaded 100%. At least one GPU, because we didn't enable SLI yet. But as you can see, like 39 degrees, and it's in the same loop as the CPU. So I mean, that's really cool. I think the Lightning card, for example, we tested a few 2 weeks ago, and we did some overclocking with it. And I think with air cooling we reached. This was with overclocking, of course, but still it was like 60, 70 degrees, which is also still really, really good. But water cooling is on another level, as you can see.
Yep.
So that's even if you went an overclock with this, if you go crazy, you might reach 50 degrees.
Yeah,
Maybe if you try.
basically.
But let's see if we can make it a little bit more
Let's also
challenging.
show the speeds.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's running on 2100 megahertz.
Yeah. But this is like stock, as in GPU boost. No overclocking applied, just normal speed out of the box.
Yep.
And as you see, only one graphics card is running at the moment. So let's make it a little bit more challenging for this system, and let's enable SLI. Let's see. Because obviously you need to enable that if you don't, if you install two cards.
I think it's in the 3D settings.
I thought it was here.
Yep.
There we go. And it's in Dutch, guys. Sorry for that. Don't worry about it. Apply. Oh wait. Okay. Well. What? Okay. So I need to close.
Close the other software first.
Well, some of them, not all, apparently. Dragon Center as well. And we should be good to go.
Crash.
Not really. The screen is flickering a little bit. I think this is normal. But it should return. But it could be more complicated due to the fact that we also have a capture card linked. So there we go. SLI enabled. And let's do it again. So now both GPUs, both 2080s, should be stressed.
I thought NVIDIA was losing the SLI name as a whole. I thought it would be
don't know.
NVLink right now, but
Well, it's a little bit confusing, as in, I think the connector type is called NVLink because
Yeah,
it
okay.
already existed in this shape. But the technology of linking two cards together, I think they still call it SLI.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing about it. So as you can see now, both cards are running on 2100 megahertz memory, and I mean temperature is
You can
pretty
tip us
much
there.
unchanged.
Yep.
41 degrees. I mean, we just started, obviously, but still. 42. So this, yeah, I mean, this is the big difference with.
Let's let it run for
Yeah.
a few minutes.
Yeah, just let it run for a few minutes. Doing a benchmark session. See if we get any. How's the download going? If you have a water leak, what should you do? Well, first, panic.
Yeah.
No, I mean, make sure well, it's electric system, so if it hasn't shorted out already, just make sure you power everything down. That's, I think, point one, right?
Yep.
To avoid anything damaging. So do not turn the system on to see if it still works, because that's when you'll break it. And after that, I don't have the experience, so I'll leave the rest of the tips to you.
Yeah, if for whatever reason it happens, I mean during testing, leak testing, then there will be cloths or whatever in there.
If you
follow
follow
towels.
Tim's advice.
So that will soak it up, and then it's just a matter of emptying the loop with the tab I just showed. Make sure that the leak is being taken care of, and then go at it again. If for whatever reasons which I have never encountered myself, thankfully, on a working system, then yeah, turning it off, powering it off is the first thing you should do. If it's a small leak, and if you have something nearby to put under the leak, then do that, and then again empty the system and try and sort it out.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, pretty good. Were the winners announced? Yes, the winners have been announced. So every time we have a giveaway and we announce a winner, it's at random by a system is being selected, and then we announce it. Looking at the temperatures right now, both GPUs 44 degrees pretty much. That's like the max I can see. CPU is up to a little bit higher now, obviously, because there's another GPU active versus the first run we did. So that means that the whole loop pretty much, it shares the same reservoir. So the whole loop will be a little bit hotter. And by a little bit, I mean 3 degrees. And, going from an i7 CPU with one 2080 and then adding another 2080 into the loop at full blast just adds 3 degrees.
Yeah, the temperature will, like I said, when you're running it like this, the temperature will go up a small bit, and that means that the temperature of your GPU will also go up a small bit. But at some point, it becomes an average between the cooling capacity you have and the amount of heat you're putting into it just by using the system. Yeah. There are various ways to also buy special things that also measure the temperature in your loop.
Yeah.
So you can keep an eye on that if you're interested in it.
So one of those digital displays they used to have a lot of years ago. Those were all the rage back then. In your case, they were front panels with a display that shows your fan speed, temperatures, and so you still have that for custom water loops as well.
You have them. It's like you can look at them right away at digital temperature, but you also have them without that. That actually goes to, for example, a USB 2 port on your motherboard, and then you can read it out with software. Yeah. You can use it out, I think even with IDA.
The only disadvantage of that is that your PC needs to be booted into Windows before you can read out the temperatures, right? Versus something that's not plugged into the motherboard that way.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, okay, we'll just let the benchmark finish. It's in the last scene anyway. Oh, there you go. So pretty nice. So minimum FPS. It did have some dips apparently. Not sure why.
How?
9.7, but the max FPS 500 and like average 270. I mean, that's just, well.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Heaven is an older benchmark, so it's a bit dated. But I couldn't. If we wanted to download Superposition, for example, we would have been here for another 2 hours. Sadly. But I think IDA also has a built-in stress test, so maybe we can quickly do that. Because obviously Heaven is a little bit more GPU focused. And I think IDA might be also stressing the motherboard a bit more. And the GPUs, so I've done that. So let's just start and see what happens. This is a stability test, by the way. I don't know if there's any like burn-in test type of thing as well. But let's just quickly see. I don't know if it's like being stressed all the way. Processor. Okay, so that looks like it's stressing the processor all the way to 100%. So that's nice. Memory, pretty much nice as well. The cards actually aren't being pushed that much. I did check it, so...
We're getting a replacement. Whoa, who is that amazing looking man on the left? What is that, like your left?
Yeah,
or our left?
Yeah.
I mean, now we need to know.
And why does he have all the tools of a plumber with him?
I think that solves the mystery of which side.
Is that an innuendo again to get plumbing tools, or
I don't know. All right. So I mean, now we're pretty much just stressing the CPU to the fullest. I don't know why it's not doing the GPU. I did check it, but for some reason it's not really doing it. But yeah, CPU. And if we're then looking at the temperatures, yeah, we can also look at it here. So a little bit higher. So we're now up to 50.
In the 50s.
60 degrees maybe max on some cores.
Which is pretty decent.
Yeah. I mean, normally, especially for a CPU, a high-end CPU, on air cooling, you would quickly, especially on a little bit decent speed, you would very quickly reach 80 degrees or higher on most air coolers.
Yeah, you need
So,
to
you know,
quite a beefy one nowadays to be able to do that.
So I mean, this is kind of like, what did they say before, EK? Is it like 20 degrees difference?
Yeah, difference,
pretty much. I would say it's maybe even more than that, because 20 degrees, then you go, well, 80 degrees, yeah, sure.
Yeah, maybe, but we were talking about GPU at the moment then.
Yeah, true. But I mean, for CPU, I don't know, is there a big difference?
No, I think the difference could be even bigger with the chips nowadays with so many cores.
Yeah. And is there a difference between if you, because this is just a CPU block basically, versus a monoblock? Because I would imagine it cools the VRMs as well, so it has more heat to dissipate then.
I don't think there will be a big difference.
No?
Because coolant is flowing then fast enough to not really have an issue with that.
Yeah. Fair enough. Cool. All right, so I think, we've demonstrated pretty well the benefits of water cooling, and yeah, I mean, how to do it. If you have any questions, still let us know. We'll see if we can maybe also, if you're rewatching this stream later on YouTube, maybe we can answer some questions in the comments, or maybe other enthusiasts about water cooling like Tim or EK will be watching it and they will answer the questions. As we've heard before in the stream, these people are very friendly, and if you have questions, they will be more than happy to share their knowledge with you for free. So
for free? Wait!
You're charging?
No.
Well, maybe, I mean, but good advice is always good, and is always nice to get, and especially if there's a good community, and the community apparently is, very lively and growing.
Just like Attila said, the case modding / water cooling community is very active.
Yeah, and very friendly as well. I mean, I've spoken to multiple people at events and stuff like that, and they all, nobody told me to go away and leave them alone. They all were, because they're enthusiasts. They love talking about this stuff, and they love sharing their knowledge about it. So that's nice to know. Anyway, all right, so let's choose our final winner for today, and after that, if there's no other questions we can answer in the stream, we're gonna end it. So let's first pick our final winner.
No worries, end the stream. We're not going to end anything else, just the stream.
Yeah. Right. And the final winner is Brian Engelbrecht. Hey, we saw a couple of questions from you.
I know, we answered the question, so, Brian.
Always good. You get rewarded for being active as well.
You get information, you get a voucher.
Hey, you are one of the biggest winners today.
Exactly.
Congratulations. We'll get the voucher to you as soon as possible. And yeah, man, thanks for watching. We really hope you enjoyed it. We really also hope you found the advice useful. And we hope, if you don't have it already, that maybe you will make a water cool build soon. Like this one, because it is really cool, I have to say. Like, literally cool. That was not intended as a pun. Alright, anyway, for next week, we have another stream. Of course, we stream every Wednesday. It's a weekly stream. Next week, there will be a stream all about motherboard memory. So we'll cover the basics and overclocking, so a bit more advanced. So if you ever wondered about memory and maybe compatibility or overclocking, SMP, XMP profiles, thank you. So all of that information will be in next week's stream. You can ask your questions, specific questions, if you want. So yeah, if you want to know more about that, join next week. And thank you for joining today. Thank you for joining as well, Tim.
Thank you for having me, man. It's my pleasure.
All right, we'll see you probably in a future stream as well. And we'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
Have a nice evening.
See you.